All right, it's the Savage Nation. We're all asking why Obama is silent on the interracial violence in America, why he's silent on the killing and the killing of Christians in Egypt. And an article came out the other day in WorldNet Daily saying Obama's brother linked to Muslim Brotherhood. Report says Malik directs radical Islamic movement's investments. And it's a report based upon reports by Walid Shoebat, who says that he read a speech in Arabic on Egyptian television. Joining us now is Walid Shoebat, former Muslim Brotherhood member, former PLO member, now a peace activist. He wrote a book called The Case for Islamophobia. Walid, welcome back to the Savage Nation. This is a very serious...
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Walid. In a news report on Egyptian television of a Gabali speech translated by researcher Walid Shoebat, a former PLO organization operative, Gabali said she would like to inform the American people that their president's brother Obama is one of the architects of the major investments of the Muslim Brotherhood. Is that what she said?
Yes. This is the former chancellor of the Constitutional Court of Egypt. And she's also the current advisor to the Constitutional Court of Egypt. She's not a small cookie. Her name is Tahani al-Jabali. She stated that the reason the United States cannot fight the International Organization of the Muslim Brotherhood is because the brother of U.S. President Barack Obama is the architect of the investments for the International Organization for the Muslim Brotherhood, which brings us back to the issue we discussed on your show before, Malik Obama. She's possibly talking about Malik Obama. She didn't give the name, but she said this is a nugget for the American people, what they do not know. She wants to open the books in the courts. She is, addressing the issues that Americans do not understand. She says the American government will not stop us. We need to open the files and begin court sessions. The Obama administration cannot stop us. They're holding ground. In fact, it's not just in a speech she gave. It's in several interviews.
Oh, wait. She wants to open the files in Egypt to show how this government collaborated with the terrorists? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. She's saying that the government collaborated with the terrorists. You look at Benghazi, things that you've never heard in this country. It's all over, circulates the Middle East. In the Benghazi case, even there is a docket number 3790 against Morsi for involvement with terrorism in Libya and Egypt. In fact, even the Libyan government states that Mohammed Morsi was involved in Benghazi. When you look at what the Americans are charging regarding Benghazi, there's only one Libyan, Khattala, a small fry. They're not addressing any of the Egyptian operatives. It was the case in Nasser City terror cell that was busted in Egypt, in which a Libyan was killed. His name, by Reuters, was linked to the case in Benghazi. But
Walid, I believe every word you say, by the way, but what you're saying tonight is more shocking than anything you've ever said before. You are saying that Obama's half-brother, Malik Obama, is what, a member of the Muslim Brotherhood, or what?
It's worse. Malik Obama, as we stated before, with clear evidence from photos, from events, from numerous articles from the Middle East, everything is disclosed. He works for the Sudanese government. He is an employee of the Sudanese government. He works right under Omar al-Bashir. Mohammed Sarwar is his main boss. He is the executive director of the Islamic Dawah Organization of Sudan. Sudan is a state. It is illegal what he is doing. He is a U.S. resident. He runs a compound of polygamy in Kogelo, Kenya. He runs a 501c3. Louis Lerner is involved in this whole affair. The IRS is involved in this whole affair. He was granted a 501c3 illegally. He was, retroactive when it was illegal. He was lying the whole time, raising funds from the United States.
Walid, you detailed all of these allegations in a 22-page investigative report entitled New IRS Scandal, Islamic Extremism and Sex Slaves. Report reveals Obama's relatives run charities of deceit. What is your website so people can decide for themselves?
Shoebat.com, just as you spell the word shoe, S-H-O-E, and the word bat, B-A-T, like baseball bat, S-H-O-E-B-A-T.com.
Okay, so Malik Obama and Sarah Obama raised money in the United States as the heads of foundations claiming to be charities. The IRS granted one of them tax-deductible status, retroactively going back to 2008. And then you say There are two IRS-approved 501c3 organizations operating in the U.S. by Obama's half-brother and step-grandmother in Kenya. But what does that have to do with the president? Remember, Jimmy Carter had a crazy brother, but you couldn't blame Jimmy Carter, as bad a president as he was, of being his brother. So should we say there's a linkage between the brothers?
Well, first we have to prove the link between Obama and the IRS. However, the IRS is linked to Malik Obama and his operation. So there's no way to refute that involvement. How did the IRS scandal begin? It has to have been all these meetings with President Obama in which it was in closed doors to basically begin to attack the Tea Parties and all these other things. So that whole issue is involved. Hussein Obama, the president, is very close, tightly knit with the family. In fact, it's been revealed in Al Jazeera television in which his cousin, Musa Ismail Obama, clearly said the communication is from his uncle, Saeed Obama, and the family in Kogelo in Kenya. And then you have Saeed Obama and all this family are seen with the Wahhabists, are raising funds to the most virulent Wahhabi schools in Saudi Arabia, Al-Qura University. Hello, the Mama Sara Fund, his grandmother's fund, is going to recruit Wahhabi schools from Africa. Well, we know what madrasa is. This is madrasas. The number one terror madrasa in the world is Al-Qura University. It was founded by Muhammad Abdul Wahhab, the founder and the godfather of Wahhabism. We're talking about a serious issue here. We're talking about Sudan, and his brother Malik Obama is an employee of Sudan, executive director of the Islamic Dawah organization. You know, you have Omar al-Bashir wanted on 7 counts in the International Criminal Court, talking about Syria.
Okay, but I hear you, and I don't deny it, but let's start from the top. Is Obama his brother's keeper? Are there legitimate links between the president and his renegade brother? Is it fair to draw conclusions about Obama from what his brother does or doesn't do?
Well, absolutely yes, because the president is responsible for what happens in the IRS scandal. He's responsible, especially when he's always meeting with his brother in the White House. How did he get his residency? How is he getting the IRS status? How is he getting all these favors illegally? It had to have been President Obama. I mean, I can't even apply for those kind of things. You can't. How could Malik Obama? Well, it has to be the last name Obama. It has to be related to Obama. It has to be related to the president.
Walid, look, you're a guy who's worked in such deep, dangerous situations, both as a terrorist and an anti-terrorist, that you know the inner workings of these things much better than I do. I'm simply kind of almost an ingenue when it comes to these things. I can only imagine what you've had to live through, but I do watch an awful lot of television. When I watch the TV show Homeland, have you ever seen that show about a former U.S. congressman who had been brainwashed and converted to Islam secretly and becomes a congressman, and he's really working for the other side? Are you implying that that's what we have here?
Well, we have to look at Obama's allegiances. We have to look at what's happening. Americans need to see what's happening. Libya is gone, amok. You have Egypt with President Obama supporting the Muslim Brotherhood, going to Egypt and giving a historic speech in support even of the Muslim Brotherhood when he went there, wanting them to be part of the electorate process because it's part of democracy, We see the Syrian situation in which the Free Syrian Army are carrying out massacres. We see the situation in Egypt. The entire Middle East is in chaos. It is definitely Obama's full support to the Islamist cause. So Obama is supporting the Islamist cause in the Middle East. It's very obvious. He has a brother named George Obama. He doesn't even care about George Obama. In fact, even in the documentary, nobody even disclosed why he doesn't care about George Obama. The truth is, George Obama, his mother is Otieno. She's a Christian who lives in the U.S. He doesn't care about the Christian side of his family. He cares very much to the Muslim side of his family. He's very much sympathetic to the Muslims, to the Islamic cause as well. It's evident from his own family.
So what are you saying? I mean, if we look at the big picture here, you're saying something very powerful here, which is that he's linked, that his brother's linked to the Muslim Brotherhood, and that Barack Obama is supporting them with U.S. tax dollars. Therefore, you're saying he's a secret agent of the Muslim Brotherhood.
Well, he's sympathetic to the Muslim Brotherhood, and I've always argued that Obama, in my view, is the taboo that can never be discussed in America. He is very much sympathetic to his Islamic roots. Obama is very likely to be a Muslim. So, this is something we are not allowed to talk about all of a sudden. The problem in American media is that, you can go to Egypt and find more about what goes on than you can find in your own hometown in this country.
Yes, there's more freedom of the press in Egypt right now than in this lockdown nation of ours, where we have an absolute yellow journalistic press at work around the clock. And if anyone disagrees with them, they're castigated. I understand how hard it is because I work through this mess on a daily basis, Walid. So having said all of this, having exposed this from... Now, remember, you're saying that you heard all of this in Arabic on Egyptian television when Gabali said that her country will not allow any conspiracy against the Egyptian state. And she said that they're trying to destroy the nation. Why would Obama want to destroy Egypt?
Well, obviously, he wants the takeover of Egypt by the Muslim Brotherhood because that's where his sympathies lie. The Muslim Brotherhood is the umbrella organization for Al-Qaeda, for Hamas, for the Islamist movement.
So it's actually worse than I fear on my worst nights and the darkest moments. It's much worse.
It is much
worse. But, Walid, if you're saying this, and it was published the other day, and the Egyptians are saying it, how could our intelligence agencies not understand this? Or have they all been castrated by Obama? Is it that far gone that they've all been castrated?
Well, obviously. I mean, how many Americans know that one of the operatives who's suspect in Benghazi has been trained by the United States Air Force? Tariq Taha Abu al-Azm, I got the minutes from the articles of the police investigation in Egypt. You have a mastermind who's suspected in Benghazi, have been trained by the Air Force. Hello, this is very embarrassing to the Obama administration, embarrassing for the government. You had the same case before, Ali Muhammad. Who talks about him? Ali Muhammad was a CIA agent, a double agent working for Al-Qaeda. He was the first one to establish the Al-Qaeda manual. He was Egyptian, the same case as this Abu al-Azm. He was found, caught, guilty, sentenced but never tried but never sentenced. Hello, what happened to that man? Ali Muhammad, the same case.
Well, Wally, look, this is a major league expose, and I don't know, have you had much play with this in the media? Has anyone else had you on their show?
Well, you're number one. You care. There's others who do care, but the major media doesn't care. However, even the case of Obama's brother, it was on CNN Arabic, but not CNN English. Can you understand that? CNN,
Yes.
the Arabic, talks about Obama's brother being linked to the Muslim Brotherhood, but CNN in English never mentions a word about it. So the media is controlled by the liberals, by the institution. They make us pay attention to what is happening in Syria so we can forget about what's happening in Egypt and in Benghazi. If Obama really cares about slaughter in Syria, why doesn't he care about the genocide in Sudan? There is a much bigger genocide in Sudan.
Well, that's another topic, and I'd like to, when we come back from the break, Walid, ask you your opinion on the alleged gas attack in Syria, whether it actually occurred, whether it's staged, and who actually may have released the gas, because I have no way to believe either side there. They're both so terrible. I'll be right back. We're speaking with Walid Shoebat, former PLO member, former Muslim Brotherhood member, now a peace activist. His book is The Case for Islamophobia. His website is shoebat.com. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation.
Swinging into the last phase, the last segment of the hour here on the Savage Nation, we're dealing with a very serious allegation from a very serious man. Obama's brother linked to Muslim Brotherhood. Report says Malik directs radical Islamic movement's investments. It was in the WorldNet Daily the other day. I'll read the two paragraphs, then we'll go back to Walid Shoebat. President Obama's half-brother in Kenya could cause the White House more headaches over new evidence linking him to the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt and establishing that controversial IRS Supervisor Lois Lerner signed his tax-exempt approval letter. Malik Obama's oversight of the Muslim Brotherhood's international investments is one reason for the Obama administration's support of the Muslim Brotherhood, according to an Egyptian report citing the Vice President of the Supreme Constitutional Court of Egypt, Tahani al-Gabali. Walid Shoebat, welcome back to the Savage Nation.
Thank you.
Nothing has come of this article. It was written by the very bright Jerome R. Corsi on WorldNet Daily. They quote you, where they say that you listened to the Gabali speech in Arabic from Egypt, and she was adamant that the president's brother is one of the architects of the major investments of the Muslim Brotherhood. So what happens now if no one's paying attention?
Well, what happens now is as usual. It's always redirecting the attention of the American people to something else. Now we are into Syria.
Okay, so is this gas attack a fake? Is it a fake event, or is it real?
Which event?
The alleged gassing of the civilians in Syria. Are those real corpses? Were they staged, and who did it?
Well, it's difficult to tell in this case. We have to wait. But let me bring the previous case. What happened to the previous case? I've examined even videos that we obtained. Americans don't even see these things. How the Free Syrian Army were able to have weapons cache of Scuds, tanks, SAM-7 rockets, all on video. In fact, even firing Scuds on video, and even having chemical rockets on video. Hello, it is easy for the Free Syrian Army to stage. The Khan al-Assal situation was proven to be a fraud. It was proven to be false. If it is true that in the previous event, the chemical attack came from Bashar al-Assad's army, why is it that in every single testimony from the victims themselves, it showed that it was the Free Syrian Army that lobbed that? How would that be strategically smart for Bashar al-Assad to be carrying out a chemical warfare in Syria when he knows it's exactly what the other side is looking for? So
not only that, but why would he carry it out the very week that the UN inspectors are on the ground? It makes no sense to me.
It absolutely makes no sense. It absolutely also makes no sense to me that Mohammed Morsi would be asking for the blind sheikh just days before Benghazi attack and right after the Benghazi attack. How does that fit strategically from a head of state of Egypt to be asking for the blind sheikh after Americans were killed in Benghazi? The Middle East doesn't make much sense, but we have to look at the source. Mohammed Morsi is an Islamist. Bashar al-Assad is not an Islamist. It doesn't serve him to do this kind of thing. The Christian community in Syria loves Bashar al-Assad. The people love Bashar al-Assad. The Russians love Putin. It's in America that we have the problem. We don't love Barack Hussein Obama. We can't stand him. He is on the side of the enemy. It behooves me that these days I'm looking towards Russia. I'm looking towards Putin. I'm looking towards Bashar al-Assad. And I lost every single hope that is left in my soul to trust this government that I'm living under.
Unbelievable. I can't add to that, nor can I subtract from that. I know that you speak a very complicated Arabic. You speak English. How many other languages, Walid, do you speak?
Just English and Arabic.
Just English and Arabic. Well, I know that you choose your words very carefully, and I would think that if we translated what you just said, there's an entire declaration in that statement. What is so heavy on my heart right now, and what's pregnant in my mind, is where the hell are the Republicans in all of this? And that's what really frightens me, because I've been not so jokingly saying on this program for years that we have a one-party system playing two-card Monte, because if we didn't, we'd have an outcry coming from the other side demanding an investigation of these reports coming out of Egypt about the Muslim Brotherhood, about Malik Obama, about the president's alleged friendliness, shall I say, the help that he's giving the Muslim Brotherhood, because it's really clear for everyone to see it if they look at it. It's very clear from Libya to Syria which side he's on. Walid Shoebat, the book is The Case for Islamophobia. Your website is shoebat.com. Is that correct? Shoebat, Shoebat?
That's correct.
Well, as usual, yes, a wonderful interview and extremely, extremely upsetting.